Oh, wow. 48 hours, less than 48 hours till the Super Bowl starts. And folks, I got a treat for you. I got a big treat for you. I have Lexi of the Kingdom Queens podcast joining me. Lexi, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining me. I've actually been hounding Lexi for a while. I was like, please come on. I found her show about a month ago. She was on Chief Concerns. And my boy Keys, who's been on my show, he was on that show. And then you were on right after Keys was. And I was like, well, who are these girls? And I was like, wow. By the way, during the season, I'm on the same time you are. So we'll have to split Chiefs Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of neat because now that I'm but you know what I've been doing is every Tuesday at 7 instead of going on live, I've been watching your show and it's been fantastic. You know what? I can talk about how awesome your channel is. Well, tell everybody here, tell us about you, tell us about the Kingdom Queens podcast. Give us a little bit about what you're all about.
Yeah, so my name is Lexi. So I grew up in Kansas City here, and I've always been a Chiefs fan, born and raised, right? So I really got into Chiefs football when Dante Hall entered the team. And so I'm 30 years old. So that's kind of like the timeline of me entering Chiefs football, right? So like Dante Hall on our team, he was so much fun for me to watch. And then I had a Tony Gonzalez bobblehead. I had, so I've just loved the Chiefs for years and years, and I've always been a fan. And we are living in the prime era right now, which we all know, which is just fantastic. Yeah. So, and then recently I got more into the football side of Twitter. And that's where I discovered my lovely Kingdom's Queens co-hosts, which are Chrissy Dittman and Jody Newsome. And we all met through Twitter, actually, which is crazy that the internet can do that. And we were approached to do a podcast. And because, there's not a lot of women covering the NFL, nonetheless, Chiefs football. And so we thought, what a great opportunity for us to we're in such a great era right now of Chiefs football. What a great opportunity for us to kind of capitalize on that and just do our own thing and run with it. So Jody, Chrissy, and I, we all do the Kingdom's Queens podcast. And it's been such a blast. We started it at the beginning of the season. We could not have expected the support we've gotten from it. And I don't think if you would have told me like 2 or 3 years ago that I would be doing a podcast, I would have said you're crazy. Like, no. But it's really just been such a blessing, and it's my favorite part of the week. I love doing it. We love covering Chiefs football. There's so many good things to talk about, just NFL wise in general. And I just love the sport. I have such a passion for it. And so we just love doing it. So Jody, Chrissy, and I, we have a good flow going, and so we started at the beginning of the season, but we plan on going all off season and next season. I mean,
oh really? You're so when the Super Bowl's over, you're just not going to quit. You're not going to just go away.
No, we're just going to keep going. Yeah.
Well, after the combine, this is Draft Central. So if you have fun, come back. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. By the way, Chrissy, Lexi, and Jody, all of the Twitter accounts are in the description below. Follow them. They're really entertaining. And I also have a link to the Kingdom Queens podcast down below. So go to their channel, hit the subscribe button, follow them on Twitter. Now, I am going to put you on the spot here because I'm a draft junkie.
Yeah.
Is there a player that you're looking at for the draft? Or is there a guy like you're saying, hey, this is somebody who I really like?
Okay, so for me, we definitely plan on covering the draft, especially because it's coming to Kansas City. So I think that's that's huge. I'm so excited for that, for one. And then, so the players I've been looking at, for me, our biggest needs are offensive tackle and D-line. Those are my 2 biggest needs for the first round pick that we have. The two names I'm going to give you are Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma for defensive tackle, defensive end.
That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one.
Sorry, offensive tackle.
Oh, he's okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And then BJ Olari out of LSU, who's a defensive tackle. Sorry, I mixed their two things. But those are the two guys I've been looking at. If they're available for us. And, I've also seen a ton of like Chiefs mock drafts that have us trading up for like a wide receiver.
I've seen a lot of crazy mock drafts. Yeah, there's been a lot of strange ones.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that particularly, but for me, I think defensive line or offensive tackle are my two things. And those are the two guys I hope to see. If they
Now, are you planning on Orlando Brown coming back, or are you planning him leaving via free agency for big bucks?
I think he's going to be back.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I do. And it's not maybe per se what I would want. But the options I see are there's not a ton of free agency with left, right?
They're basically the list is Orlando Brown. That's it.
That's pretty much the list. Yeah. That's it. So either you franchise tag him, which is that's what I predict we're going to do is we franchise tag him. And I think there's a potential that we could draft an offensive tackle, and that's kind of where I'm leaning into to Harrison from Oklahoma. And he could maybe learn under Orlando Brown or those kind of guys on our offensive line. But left tackles are so hard to come by. And unless we make some kind of blockbuster trade, I don't think that position is getting much better for us. So we either need him to step up like crazy, or I don't see a lot of options for us in that position.
No, I've said this a lot. You need three things to succeed in the NFL. You need a quarterback, and we got that. You need a left tackle, and I think you need an edge rusher, but you can go defensive tackle. My boy Keys, he says, I'd rather have a stud defensive tackle than edge rusher. All things being equal, I think the edge rusher is more important, but basically you need somebody to get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you need those three things in that order. You know what? I didn't think about franchise and tagging Orlando Brown, but looking at the free agents, the list is only Orlando Brown. So if you want to replace them, if you want to do it in the draft, and I don't know if I want to protect Patrick Mahomes with a rookie. That's the thing that scares me. I don't know if I really want a rookie. I have a draft crush. I have Antonio Johnson, the safety out Texas A&M. I think we're going to lose Juan Thornhill in free agency.
I know. I can see that too.
Yeah. See, I'm still mad too, because for those of you who don't remember, Juan Thornhill was picked number 63. DK Metcalf was picked 64. So I'm still kind of harbor a grudge. It's like, I wanted DK Metcalf, but anyway, it didn't happen. That's okay. I'm going to read some of these comments. The human joystick was but little fun fact, the 93-yard punt return for a touchdown against Denver. That was on my birthday. Me and Travis Kelce share a birthday. My boy Scott, now Lexi, I'm slightly older than you. So when I was in Baltimore, the Colts played in Baltimore. So our age is I'm like just a few years older than you. I moved 3 weeks after the Colts moved to Indianapolis. So it brings that up. But no, I've been long removed from Baltimore. Mike and Scott are very close friends of mine. They live in the area. They've been harboring me to do a live stream for the draft, and I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do a live stream for the draft.
Are you going to go to the draft?
No, I'm going to broadcast it live. I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to broadcast it live. These are friends of mine, and I've been saying no, I don't want to do it. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it live.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun. So you're hearing it now for the first time. I'm going to be here live on YouTube for the first round, giving you play-by-play, giving you the reaction, everything. So you are getting hit on, apparently, from my Lions fans here. We're going to pass over that. Come on. Brees about to fall at the end of the first. I'm going to tell you something, Funk. I would love Brees. I don't think he falls that far. But I'm a big fan of his.
There's a lot of guys that, unless we trade up for, I don't know that they're going to fall that far.
Well, you're getting a lot of love here. You're getting a lot of love here. This. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Dan, you forgot the 5 things you need. Yes, okay, you're right. You do need a head coach and a general manager, Funk. You are that. You're really, really correct there. Oh my God, my boy Tim. I've known Tim for about 20 years. What's up, guys? I'm a linebacker junkie. Favorite position in football. I'm insane. What do you guys think? Bolton in his career wins Defensive Player of the Year. Very possible. Pro Bowl snub. Bolton. I'm really not. How did he not make the Pro Bowl? He was, I think, 4th in the league in tackles. Not happy about that at all. So first thing I want to talk about here is that Lexi was very nice to invite me to a Twitter space. I've never been on one before. So when I got the invite, I was like, what the hell is this? And I didn't know what it was. I'm embarrassed here.
I literally just got into them. I mean, they really became a thing like last January, 2022. And then I really got into them like this past summer during off season kind of. So
okay.
I'm newer to them. I mean, everyone's kind of newer to them as well, but
well,
now we're into them. So.
Yours was the first one.
Yeah.
And, so thank you. It was awesome. The one thing, now keep in mind, it's a bunch of Chiefs fans, but the one thing I found very surprising, and I want to get your opinion of this. I thought a lot of Chiefs fans were overlooking how good the Eagles were. I'm going to use the word surprised, and this is my least favorite word in sports. I hate when people say this, but I'm going to use it anyway because I think it's valid. There was a lot of disrespect towards the Eagles, and I want to get your opinion. Did you feel that way? Were you surprised, or your thoughts?
Well, so Twitter Spaces are interesting, right? So you're going to get the Chiefs homers, you're going to get the Eagles homers, you're going to get the homers of whatever team they're for. Like you should have been there during Bengals week.
Oh God, no!
Those are some crazy times.
Oh yeah, I unfollowed a lot of Bengals fans. I unfollowed a lot of Bengals fans. It was nuts. It was nuts. Well, let me throw something out at you. Bills fans or Bengals fans? Like Bills. 2 years? Yeah. Okay. All right. Bills fans. You heard it.
Bengals fans have been unruly. Like they've been not tolerable for me. So sorry, Bengals fans, but it's just not.
Yeah.
It's another level. Bills fans, I at least feel like we have like a level of respect for each other. Bengals fans are like, oh, you beat us once, that's it. Like, I don't know. They're just, and then they want to talk all this crap, and then they come back at you like they can't take it.
No, they could not. I have a
spew all this stuff at us, and then you can't take it when we want to give it back after we win.
I have a soft spot for Bills Mafia, and so I took Krav Maga. And I took it when Josh Allen was a senior at Wyoming. I sparred with one of his former teammates at Wyoming. So I was all excited. I'm like, oh man, Josh Allen, because I knew he was going to be a good player. So I peppered him the whole time with questions. And what he told me, he goes, he's the best athlete on the team. He could play linebacker, he could play tight end, he could play running back. He's just raw as hell, so I hope he goes to the right team. And he was such a really cool guy too. So I've always liked Josh Allen, and then I've been kind of a fan of his in his career. I like Bills Mafia for the most part, but oh God, Cincinnati Bengals fans, I listening to them lowered my IQ. I got dumber. I really did. So
I know. I completely understand. Yeah. So with the Philadelphia, back to your question, with their fans, I think you're going to have your Chiefs homers in these spaces, right? Because they're there to pump up the Chiefs and be excited about them. But I do think the Eagles, but it kind of goes both ways. I think both teams are kind of being overlooked by either fan base, where the Eagles kind of think they have it easy and that they have a very stacked roster, which they do. They have a very good team.
They do.
Very good. I mean, on all levels of the ball. But I also think the Chiefs are being overlooked in a way of like, we don't have all the names you might know. We don't have all the household names, I guess you could say.
All right. I mean,
but I do think we have a really good team. So I love the way that our teams are matched up against each other.
I do too. It's very much up.
I really do. And I think neither team can be overlooked. I think you'd be stupid to overlook the Eagles because they're in the Super Bowl for a reason. They have the same record as us for a reason. They're a very good team. And
well, let me throw out a curveball at you. Were the Eagles the best team in the NFC last year?
Were they the best team?
Yeah. Are they the best team, or is there another team that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, I think they were. I don't know who you would say is above them at that point.
No, I don't do power rankings, but if I did, I would probably have the Eagles as the number one team pretty much the whole year. I had them winning the East right after the draft when they traded for AJ Brown. And also loved their draft. I was really high on the Eagles. I do have an Eagles fan. He's not popped in the comments. I was kind of expecting him to be here today, but he's not here. Great guy. Great.
He didn't show up.
He did not show up. So I tried to get you on last week, but I wanted to have my friend Luke G, who's a Lions fan. I wanted to have him on before I had another Chiefs fan on because I wanted to hear somebody who wasn't a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have his opinion. And he said two things. Well, he said three things that was very interesting. The first thing that he said, not really related to the Super Bowl, but he didn't want to put Mahomes as one of the all-time great quarterbacks until Kelsey retires. He says, once you take away the Hall of Fame tight end, then let's see how good he is. And if he still plays at the same level, then I'll put him up there with Brady and Manning. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Luke G also said that bet your life savings on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. He said, get a home loan, mortgager, get a second mortgage, get a payday loan, bet everything. No, he didn't say that. But he did say he did think Chiefs are going to win. 2 points that he had. This is I want to get your opinion on all three of these points. But the 2 points he had for the game, he thought Kelsey was a mismatch nightmare. Mm-hmm. He thinks that's going to be key. This threw me. He thought it would be the Chiefs' defensive line. And a lot of these guys are putting the comments in here. These guys have been talking about Karlaftis since he was a junior at Purdue. But he thought George Karlaftis and Chris Jones would be the key. It would actually be the Chiefs' defensive line that would cause problems for Jalen Hurts. Now, for me and you being Chiefs fans, that's one thing. But for a guy who's a Lions fan saying this, it really threw me off. So I kind of want to get your opinion on all three of these things.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I definitely think Travis Kelce has been my key playmaker on offense. Because if you look at the Eagles all season long, they have not had a high success rate against tight ends. Yes. And now you're facing the best tight end in the league. I mean, he's definitely the best tight end in the league right now. If you want to go all time, sure, whatever. But definitely right now, he's the best tight end in the league. And the Bengals game plan all week was they had in their locker room, they had a picture of Travis Kelce. And if you didn't touch it every day, they were, it was like they had a weird thing going. I mean, that man is unguardable for the most part. He understands defenses so unbelievably well that if you're not getting to Travis Kelce, he is going to do something to you. I have him for an anytime touchdown.
Okay. So you got a prop bet on Kelce.
Oh, I do. Definitely.
Oh. Well, you know what? We got some prop bets that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we'll go through that later. But
you heard it right now. Lexi said, take a couple $1,000. Kelce, anytime touchdown, she guarantees it.
Yes.
So you heard it.
I really do. I mean, this guy, he's phenomenal. I don't know how else to say it, but he's phenomenal at what he does. And he's going to find a way to get open. He and Mahomes have such a special connection with each other that, they don't even have to speak. They just look at each other in their little huddles, their quick huddles, and they're like, okay, we got this. It's fine. Go. and then Kelsey's open in the end zone, and you're like, how did they let that happen? How is Travis Kelce always open? It's stupid. It's stupid. I mean,
There's 2 fun facts about Kelce. Me and Travis Kelce have the same birthday. So that's kind of cool. And I'll never forget this. When we drafted Mahomes, 3 weeks later, he's at a baseball game with Kelce. It was Kelce, Mahomes, and I forget the other Chiefs player, but Mahomes was like the 3rd most famous person. He probably can't do that now, but he was just a backup quarterback. But I remember thinking that is the smartest thing you could do. Go to your number 1 wide receiver. And that's another thing. I call Kelce a wide receiver. He's not really a traditional tight end. The Chiefs are smart enough. Yeah, why have the guy line up on the line of scrimmage when he's got all this talent? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And big Kelce fan. I remember when Mahomes got drafted, I was like, he bonded immediately with Kelce. I'm like, that is the smartest thing you could do. So
immediately. What was the first part of your question again?
Would you consider Mahomes an all-time great quarterback?
Oh, right. Okay.
Because I'll share this here. I got somebody very nasty because he put this is before the playoffs started. Is Mahomes the top 20 quarterback of all time? And I responded, I'm not really sure. I'm going to say no. I got some hate. I got like it was like one death threat. I think even I'm exaggerating, but it was bad. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. And And I asked Luke, I was like, do you put him up there? And he's like, well, let's see what he does without Kelce. You got an all-time great, maybe the greatest tight end of all time. What does he do without him? And I thought that was interesting because I'll be honest, I was like, that's a good point.
So for me, that kind of came. I completely understand where people are coming from with that. For me, that kind of came with Tyreek Hill this offseason, where a lot of people doubted if Mahomes would even make the playoffs without Tyreek Hill. Nonetheless, if he did make the playoffs, could you get through the playoffs without Tyreek Hill? Because he was like a huge playmaker against the Bills and stuff like that, right? Last season. So for me, that was a huge sign. And I always had confidence in him because he was at Texas Tech with a bunch of no-name wide receivers and tight ends, right? And he had success there. And even Sean Payton went on to say the other day, he's like, that was one of the best college quarterbacks I've evaluated in the draft, and if not the best. And I think that's a huge compliment to what he does. So for me, I think that really came with Tyreek Hill and taking away your number 1 star-studded wide receiver will be in the Hall of Fame one day, right? Like, he's fantastic.
No, I think so. I'm still a big Tyreek Hill fan. I understand. He wanted to go home to Miami. So somebody commented, it's only $5 million. I'm like, listen, if you gave me $500,000, I'm probably going to Miami right now. I don't even know anybody there, So yeah, it's a lot of money. Still a big Tyreek Hill fan, but that's a great point. So you would already have him as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I do, and that might be like a homer thing to say. I guess you can say that. He's top 10 for me right now of all time. Of all time. Okay. And I think if you take Travis Kelce away, I do think that takes a huge weapon from him away. Mm-hmm. But if you look at he's playing in the biggest championship game of his life, right? And you have Travis Kelce, but all of his wide receivers went down aside from Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sky Moore.
That was it. Yeah. Justin Watson didn't even play.
Juju went out. Kadarius Toney went out. Yeah. You had Marcus Kemp that came in and he did awesome. But I think we're seeing Mahomes elevate these receivers that maybe didn't have. You had Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers the past few years. And he was waiting to make a Super Bowl with that team. Yeah. He was waiting, and that didn't happen. And then he comes to the Chiefs, and he makes the biggest plays of his life in the championship game to excel us to the Super Bowl. And I think that says a lot about what Mahomes does with these receivers and it's not just his talent, but it's the time he's willing to put in with people. He put in the entire off season. He went to Texas. He brought everyone to Texas to train there, and he's just willing to put in all the extra time it takes to make a great team. And I think that's one of his best qualities as a quarterback, where you don't get that with everyone else. So for me, I think if you don't want to put him as an all-time great right now, that's fine with me. I don't get offended by that. Because I understand you want more years. You want to see him without Travis Kelce. You want to see him maybe without Andy Reid. You want to see him like on his own. I completely understand that. But at this point, it took for me to see him without Tyreek Hill.
Okay. And then that puts you at an all-time great.
Yeah.
I don't have him top 10 yet, but I mean, he's getting up there. The one thing that really surprised me when he first came here, because I didn't want him here coming out of Texas Tech. I remember
a lot of people didn't.
No, I'm the only one who admitted I did not want him. I like Trubisky better. But I remember they used to have a thing on ESPN called the Gruden Grinder, and John Gruden fell in love with the kid. And John Gruden and Andy Reid were longtime friends. And when I remember, like after that Gruden Grinder, I remember when he said that's when his stock really started to skyrocket. And then that's when I started hearing rumors about Kansas City. I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. No, they're not going to do that. And then I remember I was at work and I heard the trade was coming, that the Chiefs are going to trade up. I'm like, no, this isn't going to. And then, I was like, God, I hope this didn't blow up, because he has all sorts of mechanics problems. And so, but he's been okay. He's worked out good. He's okay. I'm going to let's answer some questions here. Most toxic is Bears. Eagles fans are really bad at Arrowhead. Eagles fans are terrible at Arrowhead. And let's face it, America doesn't. Part of the reason America wants the Chiefs to win is because if Philly wins, buildings are going to be burned down to the ground. They're going to riot. That. So, I mean, America even wants the Chiefs to win. Unfortunately, Bengals fans are like that because they aren't used to that. Funk, that you got a good point. Wait for the Lions to rise up. My fellow fans will be intolerable. I am not a black belt. So I took Krav Maga for a couple of years, and they actually have like shirts, and I'm to a black shirt, which is only the second level. I need to get back doing that one, Pride. So thanks for motivating me. The worst part about 90% of the Bears fans, they literally think that they're even after a loss, they talk like, I had a buddy of mine who was a Bears fan, and I remember the Bears beat the Chiefs. Jamal Charles tore his ACL in the game and was out for the year, and he left his voicemail. And I'm like, I think that was the last time we talked. So I'm using the friend word is
lightly.
Yeah, Funk, me and Lexi both agree here. I wanted to get her opinion, but I've been very high on the Eagles all year. This is a great Super Bowl because you get the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFC. And it's very rare. The last time two number ones have been in the Super Bowl, the Eagles were in it. It was Eagles against Patriots, and the Patriots had an MVP quarterback who led the NFL in passing yards. So there's lots of similarities there. Both Eagles teams had second-year former offensive coordinators, so a lot of similarities there. But it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game.
That's why this game for me is. When was the last time you really had the number one?
It was Eagles and Patriots. The thing is because Foles was the quarterback and he was the backup. I didn't consider them the number one team. I mean, the Patriots were heavy favorites in that game. If I remember right, they were 7 or 7.5 point favorites. And to be honest, and I mean that team was loaded. And I'm not taking anything away from that Eagles team. I'm not taking anything away from Doug Peterson, but it kind of felt like the Patriots lost that Super Bowl to me personally.
Yeah.
Great job by Doug Peterson. He outcoached Bill Belichick.
Right.
But that was the last one, and you kind of had like a question mark as to the Eagles, because they didn't have their starting quarterback. You might have to go back like really, really long, but it's very rare that you get the best, and that's why this Super Bowl is such a great Super Bowl. Yeah. And you already heard it, folks. Lexi said thousands of dollars, Kelsey anytime touchdown. You heard it here. It doesn't happen, but you know what? So I do have some prop bets. I'm gonna read some of these comments here, and I have some prop bets that I'm gonna reveal because I do have action. It's hard to believe which team I put action on, but I did bet on one of the Super Bowl teams, and I do have one prop bet that I put action on.
Okay.
Let's see here. Not even a hybrid. He's a big ass slot. The Calvin. Yeah, I quit calling Kelsey a tight end years ago. He's really a wide receiver. I mean, call him what he is. He's a big wide receiver, and the Chiefs use him the right way. It's part of the genius of Andy Reid and part of the Mahomes greatness. No, and the Chiefs don't ask him to block. Why should they?
Not the best blocker. That's the most common thing I see with Kelsey.
Not the best blocker. Devontae Smith, longest receptions, 23.5 yards, easy money at -110. You know the deal. Hey, you know the deal. I don't recognize you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, the links to the Kingdom Queens are below. All three of the Twitter feeds and the YouTube channel. Check them all out. Over 23.5 yards, easy money. I don't know about that one, to be perfectly honest with you. But you know the deal. I'm going to be broadcasting the game live. I'm going to star this comment, and I hope you collect. I hope you collect if you got money on that one. Mahomes had a horrible coach in college. Kingsbury-led teams. Talking is hard. Kingsbury-led teams never play well at the end of the year. Dude, don't know. Okay, so here's the deal with college football. It's part of its recruiting, and Kingsbury couldn't recruit. All right, he just couldn't. Mahomes was not a high-ranking prospect coming out, and I don't want to rant about it, but it's actually funny. He forced the starting quarterback, which is Baker Mayfield, to go to Oklahoma, which their quarterback was Blake Bell. He had to switch to tight end, so it's kind of a funny story there.
It is funny how we have so many former quarterbacks on the Chiefs.
That's planned. And that's smart. It was actually fun.
It's very smart, but it's funny.
What's it? Brian Kelly, now the coach at LSU, he was the one who convinced Kelsey to switch positions. Mm-hmm. What a genius move that was.
Genius.
Yeah, I have to admit, I kind of like to see Kelsey back there at quarterback. There is a prop bet. Over 2.5 players throwing a pass, and I don't have the number for that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't have the number for that either. Top 10 all time without a doubt. Yeah, she's young or I'm old, one or the other. I don't have Mahomes as a top 10. You know what? I might make a list of my top 10 quarterbacks.
I am young, but I also.
You're okay. You're okay. We're about the same age. We're almost the same age. So
I'm young, but I feel like there's a lot of argument to make that he's a top 10 quarterback right now. So I'll leave it at that.
There's a lot of stats here. Mahomes is great, but top 10 quarterback, no way, not how. Too early for that talk. You know the deal. I actually agree with you. Lexi says no. Lexi says yes. I say no. But the fun thing is that hopefully he plays for the next 10, 15 years and he's on the path to being the greatest ever.
Right. Where people want to see more years out of him, where you want to see him without Kelsey, you want to see him maybe without Andy Reid. Like you want to see him in different situations. So I understand that.
Yeah. So you know what? You know the deal. You're not even getting hate from somebody who disagrees with you. What a great comment.
No way, not now.
I'm pretty sure Rodgers is on shrooms.
Well,
all right. Well, he is I think he's still on his 4-day darkness retreat, which is just
weird. That's funny.
You will never see a more loyal fan base. You guys have been very loyal. And now, Lexi, I've been on for a couple of years, and I'm gonna tell you something. The Lions fans have been awesome. I
love the Lions. They are my favorite NFC team. Like genuinely.
I didn't know that. I knew you liked the Lions. You mentioned this in your last show, but I didn't know they were your favorite NFC team. I did not know that. Okay, so
yeah.
So, hey, listen, Lions fans. Listen, Lions fans. All the links are below, so make sure you follow links. I didn't know the Lions were your favorite NFC team.
They are. No, they are. Like I'm genuinely mean that. I love them.
Okay, that is awesome. I didn't know that. That's pretty great.
I'm predicting a playoff Lions run this next season. So
Okay. Right now, I got them at round 10 and 7, but I want to see what they do in free. They have a lot of free agents.
They do,
and they also have a very interesting draft. And then they also, I want to see what John Dorsey does, because I've said this many times. There's not 10 people more responsible for the 2019 Super Bowl than John Dorsey. So
yeah,
I've been a big Dorsey fan. I thought the Lions made a smart move bringing him on as the assistant general manager. My friend Bufa here, the Eagles is it a re-rated? Give me
overrated. That's what he means.
I thought it was retarded. Is it retarded? Am I allowed to say that on YouTube?
Overrated. He meant overrated.
Overrated. Okay.
I was like, I think that's what he means.
So here's the deal, Lexi. I know you haven't been on. So Mike used to be on the show with me as a co-host, but his wife hates me. And his wife told him that if he comes on my show one more time, he's going to divorce him. So yes, it is overrated. So about to learn Mai Tai and BJJ. Dude, that's awesome, man. Look up Krav Maga, but it all comes down to the teacher. The teacher who was teaching Krav Maga where I'm at, he's like 5'4", but he's like 220. And I used to wrestle, so like a couple of years ago, he was just starting out, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna show him something. And I tried to move it. It was like pushing a brick wall. No, he didn't budge at all, and I was like, oh shit. And so that's the guy you want to learn, like a guy that can kick your ass. That's the guy you want to teach out of.
Right, absolutely.
Very, 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 very important. You can argue with me all you want, but like most other people, you'll be wrong. Sorry. So the one thing that's really good about my channel, you can always disagree with me. These guys have proved me wrong over and over again. As a matter of fact, one pride.
What we do, disagree. I mean, come on.
So here's the deal. So when the Lions were going to trade Stafford, I told One Pride that the Lions were going to get 2 first-round draft picks, and One Pride 40 said that it was only going to be a 3rd-round draft pick. So yeah, actually that's a complete lie. I said it was a 3rd-round draft pick, and I yelled at him. I was like, "No, you're only getting a 3rd." And then they got 2 1s. He's like, "Dan, I told you so." But when I'm wrong, I own up to it.
See, that's what you have to do. That's the name of the game.
All right. And there's a lot of love about winning the division from the Lions, but hey, we got some time. We got some time.
We do.
Who do you got? Oh, you know what? That's a good one. I'm gonna let Lexi go first here. Who do you have for the best halftime performance of all time?
Man. Oh, of all time?
I put you on the spot here.
You did put me on the spot.
It's a tough one here. I know the answer. There's only one answer, by the way. I'm gonna let you know right now. There is one answer.
Only one answer.
There's only one answer. It's obvious.
Obviously, the Weekend from the Bucks. That was terrible.
The Weekend. I'm gonna tell you the answer, and then you can tell me your opinion. But I'm gonna tell you the correct.
Okay, tell me yours. And
there's only one answer for this. It's Prince singing "Purple Rain" in the rain. Yeah. The answer's Prince. I mean, singing "Purple Rain" in the rain, like it doesn't get any better than that.
No, I completely agree. I was gonna say Prince as well. That's doesn't get better than that.
She's lying though. She's
no, I'm not lying. I was gonna say Prince, and I was like, let me see what he says. But no, I was gonna say Prince as well.
I did like Katy Perry too. I even though a lot of guys here are making fun of me, I am a Katy Perry fan, so I like Katy Perry.
She's all right. No, I think Prince takes it. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I actually enjoyed Justin Timberlake a few years ago.
I liked I didn't think I would like it.
Performer, but
I didn't because I'm not a fan of her music, so I didn't think I would like it. Lady Gaga had a really good show.
She did. Actually,
it was really good. I'm not a fan of hers, and I was like, because at the time there was a lot of, like I think the election was going on. There's a lot of political, and I was like, oh, this is going to be something terrible, and it was a great show. It was a great show. Denver Gator.
I used to live in LA for a while and actually met her, and she's a really nice person.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I really like her. So
all right, yeah. No, I'm not a huge. After that halftime show, I went back and listened to some of her music. I'm like, this isn't bad.
No, it's not bad at all. I'm actually really looking forward to Rihanna. I think she's going to kill it.
I think it's going to be a good show.
I think she's going to do fantastic.
I think she will too. She's not going to beat Prince. She's not going to beat Prince. Can't do it.
Sorry.
Denver Gators. And now, so Lexi, you may not know this from the name, but Denver Gator is a big time LSU Tiger Kansas City Chief fan.
Okay.
So you would not think that. So anyway, he is converted Broncos.
LSU Tiger Kansas City Chief. I love it. Or are you a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan?
Scott, yes, I'm admitting to it. Yes, I'm going to go live for the first round of the draft. I'm going to cave in to the peer pressure. I'm going to go live. It's going to be fun. I'm going to do it. So yes, I'm going to do it. I got the scar in my mouth, and I'll admit, yes, I love it. I love it. ZZ Top. You know, I forgot about the ZZ Top show. I actually forgot about it. But yeah, Prince. There hasn't been any good ones in a while, and One Pride 40 is still making fun of me for liking Katy Perry, but
that's fine. I mean, you could also say like Janet Jackson, right? Like that was fantastic.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't
good.
But I will argue this from now to the end of time. When you see Purple Rain, like that sealed it. He's playing. Yeah. You know, you can't do any better than that.
No, you're like.
Now we're gonna now Lexi said Kelsey anytime touchdown. So she put thousands of dollars on that, and she's saying, bet your life savings. Now, I took the Chiefs at 2.5, and you're not going to find 2.5 anywhere. You're seeing about 1.5. We're both Chiefs fans, so we both obviously are picking Kansas City. But I have one prop bet, and it's the prop bet I suggest everybody take. And I got Patrick Mahomes MVP at plus, I think it was plus 116. You can go on DraftKings right now and get Patrick Mahomes MVP at plus 120. Here's why this is the best prop bet you can make. Patrick Mahomes is the only player that can win MVP and not win the Super Bowl. And there's only been one MVP who's not won the Super Bowl. That was Chuck Howley, who just made the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Chuck Howley. But if there is one player that can win MVP and his team not win, it's only Patrick Mahomes. And if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is going to be MVP, but he's the only player that could win MVP if the Eagles win. And that's why I like it. And you can get it at plus 120. For those of you who don't do sports betting, plus 120 means a $100 wager will win you $120. So that is, I got the Chiefs at 2.5. I got Patrick Mahomes MVP. I think I took it off my bookie. I got like plus 116. I do have some other prop bets that I'm going to go over that I like. And I'll be honest, that Kelsey anytime touchdown, I didn't have that one.
Really?
I didn't have that one. And I didn't. So I got DraftKings pulled up right now.
Okay.
And I don't even know if that's available. Can you reveal where you placed that bet, the Kelsey anytime touchdown?
Well,
oh my God, I got Gooch in the house. By the way, Gooch, subscribe to the Kingdom Queens, and Lexi. Gooch is a part of a YouTube channel called the Back Talk Brothers. They have a really good Chiefs YouTube show as well, and I'd love to have an opportunity to get like all of you on together at the same time one of these days. So
that would be awesome.
So Gooch, the talent. Gooch calls himself the talent, and he's awesome. Are you sure it wasn't? No, I actually liked Katy Perry. I actually did. It was not Morgan. Actually, I don't remember if Morgan liked her or not. Chris Stapleton doing the Star Spangled Banner. I'll be honest, I don't remember that. And then Joe Burrow made cigars look badass, and another guy I idolized too. Dan knows who the second guy is. You know what? I'm drawing a blank on who the second guy is. You know what, Gooch? If you want to come on,
you can do it. I did it on Points MGM, but
Points MDM. Okay. So she got it on Points MDM. I have DraftKings pulled up right now, but she has the anytime touchdown. And that's one I wish I would have thought about. I don't even know if it's available because I love that one. And Gooch, by the way, you have an invite, you, Keys, and the rest of Back Talk Brothers. You want to come on and help out with the draft? I would love nothing more. Gooch is so Lexi, they have a show, Back Talk Brothers. It's a fantastic show. They've been nice enough to have me on. I was actually hoping that like I could bring you all together like during draft time if you're willing.
Yeah, no, we'll be more free during the off season too. So
yeah, I think so.
My other co-hosts as well. So
I would be awesome. I'd love to have all three of you on, but hopefully we can all get together. It'll be a great time. So I'm going to go over some other prop bets that I like here, and I'm going to get Lexi's opinion here. So the first one I got is under 240 and a half passing yards for Jalen Hurts, and the reason why is that I don't think Jalen Hurts is 100%. They're talking about Mahomes' ankle, but that shoulder does not look right. They blew out 2 opponents, which was good for them, but I don't see him. I think he's going to be more of a threat running. And I'll be honest, I like the under 50 and a half rushing yards for Hurts. I don't see him running a lot, but I don't think he's going to go back and pick the Chiefs defense apart. So
my thing with Jalen Hurts is I think that injury of his has been very not discussed.
It hasn't.
It's all about Mahomes' ankle. You're not hearing anything about his shoulder. And that's a big thing. If you look against San Francisco, now granted, they were without any quarterback at all. So
this is a true story. They actually called me and asked me if I wanted to step in the fourth quarter and play quarterback.
Literally, they called me.
They called me.
So, yeah, I mean, so the Eagles didn't have to do a ton, but Jalen Hurts hardly passed it all that game.
No, and this number has been.
I think he's been able to mask his injury a little bit in these last few weeks.
You remember he sat out the last couple of weeks of the season, and I don't think he looked right in either playoff game. They're both blowout wins, so it's not that big of a deal. But this number, and by the way, a little prop betting 101 for those of you that don't do sports betting. If you want to bet an over on a number, bet it early. And if you want to take an under on a number, bet it late. I've been eyeballing this. This was at 237 about 36 hours ago. This is climbing up. This is a number that I'm probably not going to bet this myself, but under 240 and a half, it's probably going to climb up, maybe 242, 243. I'll be honest, I don't even think he's going to throw for 200. I really don't. I really don't. I think the Eagles are going to try to run the ball.
I'm envisioning like 183.
Exactly. This is a good bet, and right now it's at negative 115.
Yeah.
For the Mahomes passing yards, this has been climbing up. Right now it's 293 and a half. I don't really like that number either way. I wouldn't bet it, but if I had to, I'd probably go to under. But
what do you see for Mahomes this game?
Seriously, I think he's gonna. I think their Chiefs. You know what? I say this every game, and it's the old school part of me. But the Chiefs are going to run the ball, and I say it every game, and I'm usually disappointed. But I do think the Chiefs are going to put an emphasis on running the ball. I think that the Chiefs are going to try. I think Pacheco. That's another one. He's right now. That was actually the next bet I was going to talk about because I think Pacheco is going to get 15 to 20 carries. McKinnon may get some carries. CEH may get a handful of carries. I'm hoping because I have a huge. I fell in love with Kadarius Toney at Florida. Yes, I had such a man crush on Kadarius Toney.
Absolutely.
I want to see him getting the ball on bubble screens, pop passes, end arounds. But I really think that the Chiefs are. I really see them running the ball a lot more than they do.
I hope you're right.
But you know what? That's the old school part of me, and I'm usually disappointed. But you know, I don't recommend the Mahomes number at all because if you do bet the under, which I would if you put a gun to my head, you know, Mahomes threw for I think it was 324 against Cincinnati, and I could see that very easily. I mean, that's the thing with Mahomes. So whether if you're going to bet on the Mahomes passing yards, I would avoid it completely. But I love the under for Jalen Hurts because
for some reason for me, I'm kind of with you on Mahomes passing yards. I feel like we're looking at like 280, 290.
I could see that,
but I could be right.
I keep saying the Chiefs are going to run the ball, and they don't do it. They may throw the ball 80 times. You never know.
You never know. It depends on the flow of the game. They're going to go with the flow of the game, right?
I think they will. They're going to take what they're going to take what the Eagles give them. It's going to be a great game. I'm really excited. And my boy Booth, I do see that. And Gooch, I see the same thing. He's been off, and he's not talking about Mahomes. He's talking about Hurts. Yeah, Hurts has been off, and yeah. So Denver. So you already have a new subscriber from Denver Gator, hardcore Chiefs or LSU Tiger fan.
Don't want to lose my street cred. Don't worry, you won't lose it. So we talk some good football, so you're in for a treat.
And Denver Gator was actually, we were doing a picks show, and he was on fire picking against the spread, where I was I was on ice, or like it was basically I was like lighting money on fire betting on football this year. I had a terrible year betting, but Denver Gator was on fire.
Yeah, that's just the name of the game. It's been a weird year, to say the least.
I made money betting on the Chiefs.
I was in like 7 fantasy leagues, and I can say like 2 went my way. Like I don't know.
Are you one of these people, like when you play fantasy, is your team like have 7 Chiefs? And
no. If I was lucky to get a Chief, then fine. But like I was in fantasy with like random people too, and like everyone freaking took Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce first round, and I was like, okay.
All right, so Gooch, they were in a fantasy football league, and Keys, he doesn't pick anybody from the AFC West that's not a Chief. He won't pick any of them, and I'm like, is this a free league? He's like, no, we're betting money on this, and it's like, okay. So One Pride 40 to script says Mahomes will be crowned king of the NFL. So that's what the script says, and so I was bet on the coin flip heads, and Dan, I was talking about taking over on Jones sacks. So right now I think, you know what, I'm going to give you an exact number. You may get something different depending on which one you're looking at, but I got DraftKings pulled up, and let me see what DraftKings has. So you could take over. And I don't get why they're doing. Okay, I get why now. So you can get over 0.25 at -135. So that's a terrible number. You can probably get something better. You may be able to get half or 0.75. Brandon Graham over 0.75 is at +190. So if you go by DraftKings 0.25, here's the issue with Chris Jones is that I really think that what the Eagles are going to do is they're going to double team Jones, and then they're going to allow one-on-one with Karlaftis and Frank Clark, and they're going to say, yeah, and that's kind of what I see. And when Luke G was on, he thought Karlaftis might be the key, and Karlaftis over 0.75, so he has to get 1 sack, is at +165, so that might be a good bet.
Yes, I read the script.
I can't. I got some DMs from Bengals fans complaining about that in the bullshit call. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. They would call that 1950. I mean, it was like 5 yards out of bounds. It was, yeah. All right. So okay, my rant is over. I'm jacked up on the energy drink.
What I will say is I think every NFL fan has their qualms with the refs this season, right? I think you're not
every fan base
has had issues. To say it's rigged is crazy because there's so many things that go on during a game that you can't say, oh, well, they rigged that insane catch by this no. No. Sorry, Joe Burrow didn't agree to an amount of money to lose that game to make no. And neither did Mahomes last season. It's just, it's not, no.
I mean, you get Bengals fans are really hurting my brain.
I understand. I understand it sucks. We were in their position last season where it sucks. Like, you don't want to lose that game.
You know, I'm one of the few fans. I was actually cheering for Cincinnati in the Super Bowl last year.
Oh, I wasn't.
I was like, hey, hey, go ahead. So yeah, go ahead. You beat the best.
That's fine, yeah. But for me, it was like Mahomes and Tyreek Hill forgot how to play football in that last quarter last season.
Yeah, they just fell apart. It drove me nuts. It was like I was just like waiting for football season. Like it was just it cannot come. I don't follow any other sport. I don't know what happens in baseball, basketball, hockey. I have no idea what goes on in anything else. I just follow football 365 days a year, and it was just driving me nuts. And so now we're here, and it's we're about.
I enjoy baseball. I enjoy some other sports, but like football for me is like my whole everything.
I don't do anything else. I have no idea what happens in baseball. I have no clue. I just follow
enjoy
football.
it, but I couldn't tell you like what's a good trade or not.
I could not name one Royals player, unless
Bobby Witt Jr.
Wait a minute. Is Zach Greinke still a Royal?
I think.
All right, so there you go. That's our baseball knowledge, but we're football experts.
We're not here for baseball.
We're not here. By the way, I'm going to give Gooch a lot of credit because on their show, they were talking about Pacheco back in June or July. Now, I knew about him coming out of Rutgers, and I was like, okay, he's going to make the team. These guys were telling me in June and July that he's going to be the starter, and I was like, pump the brakes, guys.
Okay,
come on.
I have to toot my own horn and say,
I've
known Pacheco since we drafted him.
I know. Okay, I knew about him.
I love this kid. If you want to go look at my past tweets, like whatever, I have been high on him since we drafted him, and I knew he was going to make the team. I knew he was going to be special. I just saw it in him.
I didn't think he was going to be special.
No, I did.
I did not. So everybody knew about Pacheco except for me. I need I'm on board now. And speaking about Pacheco, over 48.5 rushing yards for Pacheco. I actually love this.
Love that.
If you were going to bet on the over, like I said, you should bet it earlier. This number's probably going to hit 50 before kickoff. It wouldn't surprise me if he has 15 to 20 carries in this game, but I say this almost every game. The Chiefs are going to run the ball, but what do you do against a strong pass rush? You run the football. And I really think the Chiefs are going to do that this game. So I think Pacheco, 48.5, I feel really good about this number.
I do too, actually. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think
it's going to be a Pacheco kind of game.
I do too. I really do. I think Pacheco. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, like if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Mahomes going to win MVP. But if you had to give me like number 2, it'd be Kelsey, and then number 3 would probably be Pacheco.
Yeah.
But yeah, this number is a really good number. So I again, Mahomes MVP is my number 1 prop bet. I think it's a no-brainer. You can get plus 120. This number is right now negative 110, so it's actually not a bad number. I'm kind of surprised you're getting this type of value, but keep in mind it's going to go up. Next prop bet, and this one's kind of interesting. I want to get your opinion on this. Miles Sanders, 61.5 yards rushing. Do you like the over or the under here?
I hate Miles Sanders.
I actually I'm a big Miles Sanders fan. I loved him coming out of
I don't mean that as a player, but he was one of those players for me in fantasy that whenever I started him this season, he was awful. Whenever I sat home
okay.
So I have like no words for him. I don't know. Don't listen to me on Miles Sanders.
All right.
You know what? Wait, what's his bet?
It's 61.5. Lexi hates him, so I picked a player that Lexi. And by the way, Lexi, I did that on purpose. This was purposeful. I did this.
Take the under because he's going to get the over. There you go.
All right. I actually love the over on this because I don't think that Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball that much with this shoulder. So I think that
player for me this year that has just not been.
I understand. I don't do fantasy football anymore, but I do prop bet, and it's for that reason. It's for that reason because like
every time I sat him, he did well. Every time I started him, he did terrible. I'm like, you're my kryptonite, Miles Sanders. So I don't know. Take with that what you want, but
so yeah, I love the over on that one. That's like one of the there's 6 prop bets that I like. Under 240.5 passing yards for Hurts, over Pacheco. I like over rushing yards for Miles Sanders. I already said this, but Jalen Hurts rushing yards 50.5. I like the under. I think his shoulder is bothering him enough. I don't think that you're going to see him run the ball that much. And if he was 100% healthy, I'd say over easy. But I really don't think he's 100%. Mahomes' ankle is being talked about, but
the shoulder is not.
And I think that Hurts is. I think Mahomes is the more healthy quarterback. Easy.
Yeah.
And then let me see here. Biggest Super Bowl argument: ranch or blue cheese? All right. I like ranch personally, so I like that like spicy ranch, but I like spicy food. But that's me. Is that what you're going to do, Lexi? By the way, are you just like a bunch of wings, barbecue?
Yes, I actually am. I plan on making wings. I plan on making 3 different kinds of wings too.
Oh my god!
We're gonna do buffalo. We're gonna do like a sweet teriyaki, and then a lemon pepper garlic.
That sounds fantastic.
I will probably have both dipping sauces. For me, which is weird, like I'm such a foodie anyways, but
okay.
I like both. I'm brand new. Right. I'm team both.
All right, Lexi. Okay. So Lexi likes both of them. Right.
I'm team both. I'll have with.
All right, Lexi likes both. Yeah, Mike. I was cheering for the Bengals. So baseball is when
Fair. That's fair.
I can't say I saw it, but what I can say is I listened to the coaches. Coaches have certain speak, but if you listen to the inflection of words they say in the body language when speaking about it, I knew about him coming out of Rutgers, and I was like, man, this is great because you got 7th round pick. He's going to make the team, but I had no idea he was going to be a starting caliber running back. I actually thought CEH would have a big year, and people are angry that he's being active for the Super Bowl, but I mean,
I'm not a CEH hater. I'm not.
I did not like the draft pick. So I wanted DeAndre Swift. And this is actually a fun story.
The draft pick, okay, so I have an interesting question for you. This is what I was thinking about earlier.
Sure.
If we took CEH in the 7th round, would you be okay with how he's done so far?
In round 7, yes. I love DeAndre Swift. It's actually funny because Georgia had Nick Chubb and the guy the Patriots drafted in the 1st round. I drew a blank. I have a bad block with names, so I'm drawing a blank on his name. But they had Nick Chubb and another running back, and I'm drawing a complete blank on the guy's name. They had a 5-star recruit at running back by the name of McCole Hardman, who was going to be next in line. But then DeAndre Swift signed with Georgia, and they're like, Hardman, you're going to have to play wide receiver or something. We got this Swift kid. You're not good enough. Play wide receiver. I love DeAndre Swift. So when I heard the Chiefs drafted running back with pick 32, I was elated because I'm like, oh, we got DeAndre Swift. And they got my number 5 running back. So I was not happy with CEH. But
I understand. I think that's most Chiefs fans' biggest complaints with CEH is like where we took him in the draft. And I think, I completely understand that. And I wouldn't have taken him there if you could redo things, right? But I think if you take him in 3rd or 4th round and you get this production out of him, 7th round, whatever it is, I don't know. Are you that upset? I mean, he's not awful. He's not awful. And I know
you heard it here. Quit hating on CEH. Lexi says he's not awful.
He's not awful. He's not. He's not awful. He's maybe awful for a 1st round pick, but he's not awful overall. That's where I land on him.
All right. No, I was so disappointed.
I know that's controversial completely.
Well, I like the player. It's just that I had him as my number 5 running back in the draft, and the guy I really wanted was Swift, and so he went to Detroit, and I was like, oh, it's a great pick for Detroit, but I really wanted Swift.
Yeah.
What's the game? All right, so hey, on this channel, anything goes. All questions are answered. So we got a good one here. Okay, so Funk likes the purple drink. All right, Lexi, your favorite flavor on Gatorade?
I'm leaning orange.
All right, she got orange. I like the green. I like the original flavor. I love that stuff. I'm weird. I really like it. I'm surprised. Okay. So with the Colts and Cards job, One Pride, I really think that they're interested. Okay, I think the Cardinals are interested in both offensive coordinators, Stitchem or Steichen, and I think they're also interested in Bieniemy. So that's kind of the reason why is I think they want to interview the coordinators. I know Arizona wants to interview the coordinators. With the Colts, I think they're really high on Steichen, the Eagles offensive coordinator. That's another thing. I get names wrong all the time. Yeah, I can't pronounce names. I'm really bad with names.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. So that's kind of the reason why is that. But I'm gonna tell you this: like 1 week after the Super Bowl, both these positions are going to be filled, and I'm going to do a video breaking down all the head coach decisions. Even though everybody should know how I feel about Sean Payton going to Denver. That to me is just comical. But anyway, so 2 other prop bets. I like under 19.5 for Mahomes rushing. I don't think Mahomes is going to run around a lot. You have a very fast front 7. I wouldn't put money on this one particularly because if he is 100%, he could very easily go over 20. But I like under 19.5 rushing yards for Mahomes. So.
Yeah, I think if we get the rush out of him, it's going to be like those random, like it's going to be a random spurt run. Like it's not going to be like it's in the game plan.
Well, one thing the Eagles do is that they like rushing 4, and Kazir White spent a lot of time with the Chargers. I was really glad when the Chargers got rid of him because I mean this is a guy who can do everything. Him and TJ Edwards. Fast, athletic linebackers, they're not going to blitz a lot. So I really don't think Mahomes is going to run a lot. But I do think that, we'll see one of these guys spy on Mahomes. And I think one of these guys is probably Kazir White's going to be glued on Kelsey. I expect them to try to bracket, but this actually goes hand in hand. On my last final prop bet is Travis Kelsey. And this number's been going up, by the way. Is now 78.5 yards receiving for Travis Kelsey. I like the over, even though it's a big number. Lexi, what is your thoughts? Am I crazy? Like he's going to have over 80 receiving yards here, or?
No, I don't think so. He's my key offensive player of the game. He's hard to stop. I mean, you go in with the ultimate game plan to stop him, and you're still not going to stop him because
exactly
he outsmarts you. He outsmarts defenses all the time. So for me, yeah, I have him. I say at least 80 yards, and I say at least 1 anytime touchdown. That's where I have
him. All right, so Kelsey, you heard it here. Lexi guarantees you over 80 receiving yards, 1 anytime touchdown, mortgage your house, get a payday loan, pawn something, steal something, and bet it on over 80 receiving yards and seriously, any
just
kind
don't rob a bank. Don't rob a bank.
So for those of you who don't know, there was a Chiefs fan who let's not touch base on the negatives here. So Dan, if Kelsey doesn't break 80, you guys won't be happy with the result. No, I agree. And I really think that he and Luke G said it. He thinks that that's kind of the mismatch. It's going to be Kelsey. I think that they'll try to double team. I think they'll get all sorts of creative. And I think that what you'll see in the beginning is I think you'll see the Chiefs go ahead early and avoid Kelsey. But I think in the second half, you're going to see a lot of Kelsey. It wouldn't surprise me early in the
At some point, you're going to see a lot of him.
I don't think it's going to be early. I think the Chiefs are going to get other players involved. I think it's going to be a game of chess. But that's kind of my thought process. Dan, did you hear Peyton already told Russ he no longer will allow his personal care team in the facility? So yes, I did, and this is part of the reason why I'm telling you this isn't going to work. Drew Brees is a guy that you could go back and throw the ball 50, 60 times a game. Russell Wilson's not. He's never been that guy. And that's why I don't think this is going to work. They're like trying to – you could not take two more completely different quarterbacks than Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, but they're like, oh, they're the same because they're both under 6 foot. No, they're different types of players. They're completely different. And
completely.
And I don't see it working. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm being rude here. I should ask your thoughts of this, Lexi, before I just jumped in. But yeah, I went on my rant. I'm jacked up on an energy drink. It's not cocaine. I've been accused of that more than once, but I'm jacked up. I'm all excited. I mean, less than 48 hours till the Super Bowl is here.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm like, I have butterflies. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I seriously, I've been like
crazy.
I'm pacing around. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm just going nuts. But your thoughts about this? I'd love to hear what you think here. And I'm just surprising you, but it's a question here.
Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton. I mean, is this like the Denver Broncos finally got it right? Like, are they going to be the threat to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West, or?
For me, you know what? I have the utmost respect for Sean Payton. I think he's a fantastic coach. Do I think he's the solution for the Broncos? No.
I don't think so either.
I don't. I understand where the Broncos fans' hope is coming from, per se. Like, I completely understand. If we got a coach like that on the Chiefs and we were in this down spot, you'd be like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. And there's a chance he is. There's a chance he does fantastic for them. And by all means, if you want to beat us once next season, fine. We can beat you 16 times in a row. But for me, no, I don't think he's the difference maker. I think I'm already seeing some weird stuff with him and Russ, like, oh, Russ had this going on and I didn't know, and now they're canceling these. I don't know. Russell Wilson has his own private office in the Broncos. I don't know. There's just something weird to me with that whole signing with Russell Wilson. And at first, I was actually excited about it. Like, when it first happened last year, I was like, okay. Not excited per se, but like, I was like, okay. I love to see Mahomes and Russell Wilson face off 2 times a year against each other, right? I was good for that. Because 2 very talented quarterbacks. And it just turned out to be nothing like what any of us thought it would be. Like, at all.
I knew it was going to be a disaster.
Did you? Okay.
Oh yeah. I at the beginning of the year, I predicted they were going to finish dead last in the AFC West. Now I had the Raiders finishing second. I thought the Raiders were going to be pretty good.
I think a lot of us thought they would be better than what they were.
And I thought the Chargers would be kind of what they were. And I mean, talented team. I don't think they're very well coached, and they also had a lot of injuries, which they actually did a good job bouncing back more or less. But no, I knew it was going to be a disaster. The coach that they brought in was going to run a very similar offense to what Sean Payton's going to run, and that's not Russell Wilson's strength. What Russell Wilson does well, even though he's a shorter quarterback, he's got one of the best deep balls in football. I mean, powerful arm, really strong arm, and he's mobile. But that's another thing.
And randomly, he turned on his wheels on our defense during this year.
I think he lost a step or two, but that was his strength. And I thought, well, if you take the Broncos and you make them into a run-heavy team, Javonte Williams, he tore his ACL. It's kind of a shame. And Melvin Gordon, who's actually on the Chiefs practice squad, had a bunch of fumbles and was cut. I thought if they made the team a run heavy team, it would work, but that's not the offense that they ran in Green Bay. And that's not the type of coach he is. And he trying to think, he got picked up by the Jets to be a Jets offensive coordinator. And I think that's going to work really, really well. But they have, that's another whole situation. But I knew that it wasn't going to work out. I think Denver has some holes, and giving up a draft pick and then a coach that's not going to mess with Russell Wilson. That losing that first round draft pick's a big deal.
Huge.
Yeah. And Funk, you're right. There's already conflict. You're losing your first round draft pick, and that, despite of what Broncos fans think, there's holes on that team. So,
and if there's one coach I could have picked for them, it would be Sean Payton. Like, I think that's the most ideal hire for almost any team in the NFL at this point. So I understand the hiring, but I don't think that's gonna win them the West or anything like that.
If they could
division for a long time.
I think so too. Which is kind of cocky. I bet on the Chiefs to win.
It is cocky, but I really genuinely think that.
Yeah, I do as well. I just don't think this is going to work. I think if you got rid of Russell Wilson and you brought in a different quarterback, then yeah. But
they just paid him too much money, and now you're kind of stuck. So they're going to be stuck for a while.
That contract is ridiculous. James says it was a great show of Luke G. I loved it. Yeah. So basically, what he's saying is that you're not as good as Luke G, Lexi. So he's not happy with you. No, I'm teasing. So, but no, it was a great show with Luke G, and I'm going to have Luke G back on.
Well, James, I hope you enjoyed me as well.
Hey, James, she's a Lions. I didn't even know before she came on that she's a Lions fan.
Yeah. Lions are my NFC team. Come on.
I didn't know this. And as you can see here, we got lots of Lions love, and I owe Luke G. I was nice enough to go on his show. And if I'm correct, don't the Lions play the Chiefs next year?
Yes. Yeah, we play the whole NFC North. Yeah. So, yeah.
So Mike says, Dan, we need to team up with Lexi's crew for Thursday. If they are willing to come on and we can do like a draft special, I already got the talent from the Backtalk brothers are willing to come on. And if Lexi had a good enough time, I'm hoping I can get her on before the draft to talk about some more draft picks. So she already said she loved my Antonio Johnson pick, and she changed her mind and agreed Antonio Johnson to be the pick. So
yes.
I can see Peyton benching Russ with the money involved. Yeah, I could too. And that's kind of the problem, is that I do think that, okay, I'm kind of going off track here, but I like Brett Rippon more in Peyton's offense than I do Russell Wilson.
Shoot.
But I need
one Taysom Hill thing kind of here. Like,
say what?
Are you feeling like a Taysom Hill kind of thing?
I just don't see Russell Wilson working with. I don't see how Peyton and Russell Wilson are going to work together.
But then, what do they do?
I seriously, I think they're just going to suck. I really do. I think they're going to suck. I think that they're going to win about 7-8 games, and I think next year one or the two might go, and it's just going to be weird. Hawks destroy. I have no idea. The Hawks destroyed the Broncos in that trade. The Seahawks are picking 5th, and
I love the Seahawks.
It's going to be very interesting to see what Seattle does in the draft. And I didn't know Lexi was a big draft junkie, so that's really great. So we could talk a lot of draft stuff, but I'm not going to keep Lexi here all night talking draft stuff. The best hire for any team is Aaron Glenn. I need. He's the Lions' defensive coordinator. What makes it worse is Broncos are going to go. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. In KC or Cross Seas, KC is an away game for my squad. So it's it is an away game. I think they're playing the Patriots in, I want to say, Frankfurt. I could be wrong on that. So Gooch, I didn't know you already had your first round draft, and you got it. I think they're going to try. I really do. I really think that they're going to try. We're turning Dan into a Lions fan now, so I can talk 32 teams, but you guys have been with me for a while. Luke G was nice enough to have me on. So I'm forever grateful for the Lions fans and for your contribution on here. And I had no idea Lexi was a Lions fan, so that's fantastic.
I love the Lions.
I'm kind of floored by this, so that's amazing. Now, Lexi, before we wrap up, I'm like 85% sure I know who you're picking to win the Super Bowl. I'm not at 100%, but there is some debate here. But I need a score prediction from you. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl, and do you have a score prediction?
I do.
All right, let's hear.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I know it's a shock.
Okay, it's a shock. We're going with the Chiefs here.
Controversial. No. Definitely going Chiefs. I have Chiefs going, and I have it kind of high scoring.
Okay, let's hear it.
To be within like one score.
Okay.
But I have Chiefs 37-31.
That is really high score. Okay, so I'm gonna surprise some people here because I also had the Chiefs, but I got 29-27. And I think it could come down to a 2-point conversion. I think it's
love it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those. I really think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Our teams match up. I love this matchup for us.
You know what? I mean, yeah, I do too. I think the Eagles, top to bottom, have the better team. I really do. I think they have more talent. But I think we have the coaching advantage. And by the way, he's done a fantastic job coaching the Eagles. I'm drawing a complete blank on the guy's name right now.
Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni.
Sirianni.
And it's funny because when he was hired, I remember when he was hired, I was like, why? I thought the Colts defensive coordinator should have been hired, not the offensive coordinator. And I didn't think it was a good hire. And he's just done a fantastic job. I mean, what a great job the Eagles organization's done. They're picking 10th, and they're going to pick 30th in the draft, not 31st. That's us.
Eagles have done a fantastic job at that.
Yeah, I mean,
their front offices, yeah.
And their draft last year, they got Jason Kelsey's replacement in the second round. They got Cam Jurgens. They got Fletcher Cox's replacement in Jordan Adams, the massive defensive tackle out of Georgia guy. They got two of my favorite players in the draft. And then the trade for AJ Brown just elevated them completely.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are a team that is really set up to really like be the team of the 20s, and the NFC East is kind of interesting. I think Dallas has talent, but they're just kind of weird. I wasn't sure how Brian Dable would do with the Giants, but I think he's done a fantastic job. And Washington, if they get a quarterback, I mean, I like the talent on the team.
Same.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things I like about the Eagles. It wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles go back to the Super Bowl next year, but this matchup's really good because I think they have the better team. Nothing against Sirianni, but we got the better coach. Am I being a homer here by just saying we got the better coach?
No, I genuinely I don't think so. No, I mean I'm biased, but no. Like, if I were an outsider watching this, I would think the same. I would think Andy Reid. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. Those are your standouts, right?
There you go.
You have Chris Jones and Frank Clark on defense, but I think there's a clear outlier here. And a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that.
No,
people overlooking the better quarterback and the better coach. Keep out.
That's my whole argument is that the Eagles have the better team, and I'm an old school person. I love a team that can run the ball, that can get after the quarterback, that plays really good defense, and normally, if I wasn't a Chiefs fan, I love all those things, but who's the better head coach and who's got the better quarterback? And if you do believe that it's scripted, what better script is there than the face of the NFL winning the biggest game in the NFL? I mean, So we got that going for us too.
And
So
if you think it's scripted, then you can say that about any game. I mean, it's funny. It's a cheap excuse, but it's funny.
So my boy Gooch here, does anyone else find it disrespectful that they say this Eagles defense is the best Mahomes will have faced? Or are we forgetting the Niners defense and look who they played all year and you face? Lexi, I'm going to let you handle this one first. It's kind of a long one.
The best they've faced, I don't know that it's disrespectful per se. I think a lot of the defenses the Chiefs have faced have been number one going into that week, and then after we face them, they're no longer number one.
I remember that about the 49ers. I did an emergency betting alert
because it was the 49ers. It goes on and on. I think the Broncos had a fantastic defense. We faced them twice and beat them. They were top 3 pretty much all season. 49ers are top 1, 2, especially of the NFC. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem for them being the number 1 defense with Mahomes. I just don't. I think he and our offense have a fantastic understanding of defenses. It doesn't matter where you rank. Because like I said, we've gone against so many defenses this season that we're like going into that week, oh, they're number 1, you're not going to do anything. And then Mahomes comes in, does his thing, and then all of a sudden that defense is number 5, right? Or like number 3, whatever. And
no, I couldn't agree with I couldn't agree with you more. And to say it's disrespectful, I mean, when you get 70 sacks in a season, I made a list.
That's fantastic. I mean,
that's an all-time number. I made a list top 10 Super Bowl teams of all time. And except for the 85 Bears, none of them had 70 sacks. I mean, that's a crazy number. So, no, it's not that. I don't think it's disrespectful at all. I mean, I think it's more comical if anybody thinks that this is going to be an easy game for either team. Right. I mean, you got the 2 best teams. These are the 2 best teams in the NFL. I don't care what Bengals fans say. Are there 49ers fans out there that think that, if we had a healthy quarterback, we would have won? I don't think. I think that they know that Lance or Jimmy G or Purdy, if he's 100%, they know that they weren't as good. So, I think you need to watch. They haven't played a quarterback like Mahomes all year, and that's who's the best player in the NFL?
That's the thing. It's like if you haven't faced Patrick Mahomes, you haven't faced him. And that's it. He's the best quarterback. He's the best player. I mean, they faced him last year, and Mahomes beat him. So that's all you can say. But until this matchup,
no, I mean, you just don't know. It's I'm a little more critical of Chiefs fans that are thinking that this is going to be an easy win, or that on that Twitter space thing, there was a couple of Chiefs fans like, we're going to win by a couple touchdowns. Yeah, I'm like, oh boy, God, have you watched this team?
Yeah.
But
you guys some miracle, sure. But.
It's actually funny. One of the things that was brought up was that it's kind of funny because the one thing I did agree upon was that the 2 games the Chiefs played in the playoffs, they were in a couple cat fights. And I think that helps because if the Eagles get down early, how are they going to respond? Because they just blew out two offensively limited teams. If they get down by 10 or 14 points, are they going to be able to respond? If the Chiefs get down by 10, they're not going to sweat it. All you have to do is look a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl when they were down 21-10, 7 minutes left. So I do think that's a big thing, and we kind of didn't touch base on that. But Funk, Dan, who's the best head coach ever? I don't give it to Bill. I'm all about to give the head coach to win 3 with 3 different quarterbacks. That's Mr. Joe Gibbs. That's an interesting choice here. All right, Lexi, I'll put you on the spot. Best head coach of all time. I'm giving her a tough time. First time ever on the show, and I bully her because I'm kind of a dick.
I mean,
on level with you.
I hate to say it, but for me, it is Bill Belichick.
That's my answer too.
I mean, there's not a lot to say with that.
No,
that
would be my answer.
There's been some good head coaches. Miami Dolphins went on a run with an undefeated season.
Yeah.
Steelers went on some great runs. But
you can go Chuck Noll. You can go Don Shula. You can go Lombardi. I have Bill Belichick as my number one coach.
He really is. Like
I do.
Noll for sure is up there.
And we also, you know what? So I
was in a debate on this the other day.
Oh man, I got Cliff coming in. I
was in a debate on this, and yeah, but for me, it is Bill Belichick.
Cliff, man, welcome to the show late. In case you missed it, Lexi said bet your life savings on Kelsey over 80 and anytime touchdown. Cliff does some sports betting down in Florida. So I'm glad you're here, Cliff. So you got some good tips here from Lexi. Bet your whole life savings, Kelsey over 80 yards receiving and anytime touchdown. We got some more questions for you here. Lexi, what is your opinion of Dan Campbell?
Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell. I think he's fantastic. I think he's such a great leader. He's one of my favorite, motivators to watch out there. Motor City Campbell, right? That's what they call him.
I love the nickname here. And by the way, Lexi does strike me as a kneecap biter. I think she is a kneecap biter. You know that. That was like first time I watched her show. I'm like, she's a kneecap biter. That was my thought process.
No, Dan Campbell, he's fantastic. I love him. I love the coach he is to his players. You can tell the players respect the hell out of him. It didn't matter that they won one game last season.
They were 3-13-1, and I was
not this season, last season.
Yeah, last season they were 3-13-1.
They won 3 games? Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I was telling these guys that if he won 3 games again, that he was going to get the axe. And they were like, no, he's not. His job's not in jeopardy. I'm like, look, if you win 6 games in 2 years, I don't care. They're gonna. And I thought when they started off 1-6, I thought that they could have cleaned house if they continued on that path. But they started. I
agree, but I always felt like it wasn't going to be like that.
I did not have a lot of faith in Dan Campbell. I watched Hard Knocks, and I was
really?
like, yeah, I was like, after Hard Knocks, I was like, no, this is not a good team. Yeah, I was not impressed. I thought it was too much rah-rah stuff. I didn't think that would really work with professionals.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I was wrong though. I was wrong. The only time I've ever been wrong ever. So you can kind of talk ever about anything.
For me, yeah, I really like Dan Campbell. I think he's fantastic. I think he reminds me of like a Mike Vrabel. They remind me
That's an interesting comparison. And I'm a huge Vrabel fan. I loved Mike Vrabel. They're
very similar to me. Like they have that
Vrabel hated when he got traded to Kansas City. He did not want to come here. No. I'll never forget that. But he played really well. And then he was like, can I coach at Ohio State? Because that's what he did. He was here for 2 years, and he went to Ohio State. Phenomenal. One of my favorite coaches is Mike Vrabel. I think that's
I love
that's a great comparison. That's a good one. Gooch says the point I was trying to make is a lot of those 70 sacks are against backups or third string, and I think this game's going to be close, but not to guarantee Eagles, like the pundits were saying. It's funny if maybe you would have agreed with the people that were on Twitter Space, because I was floored how many Chiefs fans were overlooking how good this Eagles team is. But no, I get what you're saying, but the thing that's really impressive though is that they get a lot of those sacks just by 4. They don't blitz like the Chiefs defense, and I think people that really know football that can be objective are really thinking it's going to be a close game. So, and now
it should be.
No, I mean, I would be really surprised if it was a blowout one way or another. But if one team's going to blow out the other, it'd be the Chiefs. So, but I mean, I've been a season ticket holder since '89. I can't be objective. But when Luke G was on here, and he picked the Chiefs. He said, "Bet your life savings on the Chiefs." So you are getting a lot of compliments here. So Lexi, apparently you are really well liked. I don't get any of these compliments, by the way. Nobody talks about how great my hair looks or nothing. I don't get it. Gooch puts in highest rated pass block line in the NFL, and Wiley, who I think is the weakest link, ranked 10th. And when Dak is the best quarterback you face all year, I wouldn't get comfortable thinking easy sacks. No, I'm not thinking easy sacks either. And I say this a lot though, but I really think the Chiefs are going to run the ball. I really do, but I say that all the time, and I'm very, very rarely right when it comes to Andy Reid running the ball. Shula had 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. Okay. Marino. I'm drawing a blank on who the third one is, Cliff. Okay. You got Greasy. You got Marino. I don't know the third.
Yeah. Why? 3?
I don't know who the third one is because it's not number 15. I know the former Colt quarterback, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. And that's another thing, Lexi, is that I'm really bad with names. I can give you like
Unitas?
Huh?
Unitas?
No. Unitas wasn't a Dolphin. Now, is that what you're counting, Cliff? You're counting Unitas because he didn't play with them in Miami, but I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's if I did top 10 quarterback or top 10 head coach list, Shula's on that list. Belichick's number 1. I'll be honest, I'd have to think long and hard who number 2 would be. That would be really hard because you're right.
I'm like,
I can do Shula. I probably could go Chuck Noll. I can go Bill Walsh. I can go Lombardi. Andy Reid makes the top 10. So, okay, fair enough. You said okay. So he's throwing a trick question. The coaching staff has over 80 years of playing experience and carries weight in the locker room, young guys, and just got a few more. By the way, I love the Dre Bly hiring because I love Dre Bly. I've noticed that when teams hire a bunch of players, coaches, it usually doesn't work. So that's kind of when I watched Hard Knocks. I saw a bunch of guys, and they kept on saying the same things like, hey, we know how these players are reacting. And sometimes you need a guy to be like, hey, let's get the work in, and you need more of a disciplinarian. I can't say the word.
Disciplinarian.
Bingo. Yeah, you need that instead of a player's coach, and that's kind of what I saw on Hard Knocks. A bunch of players' coaches.
Yeah.
That we know what these guys are going through, and I think sometimes you need somebody to get in their ass and say, hey, we got to work, and that's that was kind of why I after watching Hard Knocks, I was like, okay, this team's going to win about 7 games. I watched Hard Knocks like this is a 5-win team, and Campbell may go, but Campbell proved me wrong. So it's like first time in my life I've ever been wrong about anything. And yes, Joe Gibbs was that way. So if there's any other questions, shoot them now because we're going to wrap up. So Lexi has a 37-31 prediction. She says, take your life savings, bet it on Kelsey, over 80 passing yards and anytime touchdown. I'm telling you right now, on DraftKings, you can get Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, wait. Passing yards or receiving?
Oh, I said passing.
I was like, he's not passing.
You know what? This is the second time I've ever been wrong about anything in my life.
Second time.
Second time ever. So you get it here live.
Twice in one night.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You never know what you're going to get when you go live. You never anything could happen. But that's what I say on the show. All questions are answered, and anything goes. Anything goes here. So Travis Kelce over 80 yards receiving, not passing. However, if he did have a couple passing touchdowns, that would be awesome. Anytime touchdown. By the way, I love that bet. I love that bet. I might actually see if I can find that and bet it myself. And Patrick Mahomes MVP you can get for plus 120. I strongly recommend that bet. Even if you like the Eagles. By the way, if you like the Eagles and you think the Eagles are going to win, don't take Jalen Hurts to be MVP. It's plus 125. It's not a good number. So, Dan, go back to last year when AG was screaming at Okudah on the sidelines. I think it was Walker had to go walk over and break it up. Okudah looked like he was about to cry. That's one thing, though, about you guys. I like Okudah a lot more than you do. But we'll have to find out in between now and the draft. We're going to talk a lot of Lions. They pick 6 and 18. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Lexi already said that she would come back on and talk draft. And since she's a Lions fan, let's see if I can get her to give her picks at 6 and 18 next time I have her on. So
yeah,
that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun here. So anyway, if nothing else, we're going to wrap up. Lexi, do you have anything else that you want to say before we get out? By the way, her social media is in the description, plus a link to the Kingdom Queens podcast. Great channel. They're on Tuesday at 7.
Yes. Yeah, we're on Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then you can find us the next day, Apple and Spotify, at the Kingdom's Queens. We just like to we're Chiefs homers on our podcast, but we love to talk football. We've talked football all season long. We give our predictions on all kinds of games, all kinds of takes on different games and all that good stuff. And then we do plan on covering the upcoming draft in Kansas City. And we can't wait for all of it. So hopefully the next time we see everyone, we'll be Super Bowl champions. And then we can go into the draft hosted in Kansas City. So I'm just so excited. There's not a lot else to say, but I do appreciate anyone that subscribes to us.
Please, the link's below. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. Subscribe.
So I appreciate you for having us on tonight or having me on, because my other two co-hosts could not join me.
They were not able to, but it's an open invite. Please come back. We'd love to come back. So that would be awesome. And I have no idea you're a Lions fan now. Are Jody and Chrissy Lions fans too, or is it just you?
Probably not. No.
Jody a Cowboys fan? I imagine living there.
Somewhat, because she lives in Dallas, so somewhat, yeah.
I've been there. I love that area. I absolutely love that area.
No, but I just have a soft spot in my heart for the Lions. So
I had no idea. Yeah, I was on. So when the Lions played the Chiefs a couple of years ago, I went on Luke G's show, correctly predicted the Chiefs' victory, and I was very lucky to get some of these guys to come in. Yes, amazement. You did miss, but I'm gonna before I get off, I'm gonna give you the prop bet. I have action on Patrick Mahomes to win MVP plus 120. Lexi says you can bet your life savings on Travis Kelce over 80 yards receiving, and she put down. Boom. And that's what we got. So, and also, hey, feel free to listen to the rebroadcast. It'll be on. I'm not going to take it down. So go ahead and listen to it again. But Kelce over 80, anytime touchdown, and Mahomes to win MVP. And surprise, surprise, both of us picked the Chiefs to win. So, all right. On that note, we are out of here. Guys, thank you so much for joining. All the links below. Follow Lexi and the Kingdom Queens on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see everybody back next Friday.